Hello, everybody. Alrighty then. So, hopefully everybody's having a good week thus far, and hopefully, as we've reached the midway mark on Wednesday here, um, as we wait for more people, I'm gonna put on some music while I take care of a couple of things. So, but I will be right back. That I didn't. All right. Anyways, after that little mix up there, so. All right. So with all that being said, anyways, let's see now. Let's see what time it is. All right. So we're right at 3 minute mark now. So here's pretty much what's on top for tonight. I'm gonna go over three articles, two of them bounding into comics, one from Bleeding Fool, then of course the wrestling wrap up and this day in each history. So we're gonna talk about, of course, Seth Rogen, talking about his latest project, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, saying how he's commenting on how he wants to honor the franchise by and also by trying to fuse something new into it. I think that could be code for, well, we're gonna wokeify it to fit our agenda. But we'll see what they have to say on that. Also, um, they are tabbing Andy Muschietti, to the director of the Flash films, to film the latest Justice League New Frontier movie. Now, normally, of course, you guys know I don't normally do mainstream movies too much, but I do know that the Ninja Turtles does seem to be an animated version, even if it's computer animated. Not sure about the New Frontier movie, if that's animated or not. They did show some animated things, and also we're gonna look at Netflix also ordering up an animated version of, I believe it's King of, let's see, is it King of Thrones or let me see. Yes, I should. I know it's a series. I do remember it's a series that is kind of. And I now go back and check again here. Stranger Things. There, Netflix has ordered a Stranger Things. Um, Stranger Things animated series. So those are the stories we're going to be covering tonight. Get everything set up here. Okay, there we go. Let's see. As always, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free, of course, to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started now that we're coming up on 6 minutes here. We go ahead and get started here. All right, so here's the first, the three articles we're going to get started with here. Seth Rogen says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Mutant Mayhem, attempts to, quote, honor everything, unquote, about the franchise while also, quote, trying to infuse something new, exciting into it, unquote. Article by Spencer McCulley, published yesterday. Wonder what he means by infuse something new and exciting into it. I guess we will find out here. According to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem producer Seth Rogen, his animated film will attempt to, quote, honor everything he always loved, unquote, about New York's resident radical reptiles, whilst simultaneously making sure to, quote, infuse something new and exciting, unquote, into their mythos. Like maybe race swapping one of the iconic classic characters, not just race swapping her, making her an African American body positive character, which even as Yellow Flash pointed out, with all the running around she has to do, as a reporter and to keep up with the turtles, that just doesn't seem to make much sense. So, anyways, the actor slash anti-white activist spoke to his approach towards the Turtles' silver screen return during a recent interview with Screen Rant. Though primarily speaking with the outlet of his then upcoming role as Donkey Kong in the Super Mario Brothers movie, Rogen was eventually asked if he could provide any insight into the creative process behind Mutant Mayhem, to which he asserted, quote, I think it's putting a lot of thought into making a better version of it. And I take it based on what we've seen, his better version includes having a race swapped body positive April O'Neil. Let's see. Even then, people are projecting it's going to be okay, and at the same time, I think putting a lot of thought into a better version of it, even then. Okay, I think they forgot to put more. I guess he forgot to say more. Even more. It should say even more than people are projecting it's going to be, and at the same time, giving them everything they hope it's going to have. Anyways, we continue on here. I guess that's the YouTube link to to that interview. Let's see. There's bar two of us watching. Okay. Alrighty then. And I think that's something that honestly, okay, quote, and I think that's something that honestly we've gotten better at over the years, unquote, said the producer. Quote, and I've seen a lot of friends do it, and I've been a part of it a few times. I think maybe early on our instincts maybe were like, quote, let's subvert it, let's make it really different. And I think you do have to create something that's original, exciting, and creatively unique. But at the same time, it has to give people what they're really hoping they get from this stuff. Unquote. Quote, with Ninja Turtles, it was really trying to honor everything I always loved about it, um, in brackets, while trying to infuse something new and exciting into it, unquote. He concluded. Quote, and luckily for us, no one had ever used actual teenagers before, and something very intuitive became something that really opened up our version. It feels like it makes it feel very unique. Now, I wonder if he means when he says using teenagers, does he basically mean using like voice actors to voice the mutant, the turtle characters? Is that what he's talking about? I wonder. Things like that, I think, are exciting ways to get into this stuff. Unquote. However, despite Rogan's attempt to reassure longtime Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans that his film will, in smaller quotes, give people what they're really hoping they get, unsmaller quote, the film's initial reveal has already raised suspicions that this will be far from the case, particularly for any fans still holding out hope that they may one day see a revival of April O'Neil's classic yellow jumpsuit appearance. Therein, not only was it announced that villains Wingnut and Leatherhead would both apparently be gender swapped, um, thanks to their being voiced by Natasha Demetrio and Rose Byrne, respectively, but also that the film will feature yet another race swapped incarnation of the aforementioned O'Neill. Yeah, they didn't just race swap her either. Apparently, they've made her a quote body positive character. If you know what that means. At current, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is set to spin its way into theaters on August 4th. August. So, anyways, well, there we go with that one. Let's get ready to get to the next one here. First out, let me see if anybody has said anything yet. Hey, George. Let's see. Don't believe what Seth says. He's going to drug up the jokes. Drug up the jokes. Haven't heard that particular phrasing before. George, are you saying that he's going to be so high that he's going to basically just put in a whole bunch of stupid puns or whatever? And if you, of course, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That would be great. anyways. All right, so let me see here. Well, anyways, getting ready to move on to the next article. Before I do that, of course, as I said, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be great. Also, if anything here gets your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions about it. And I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, going on from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now to, I guess, the latest film adaptation of Justice League New Frontier. So, here we go with that one. Alright, so, rumor. The Flash director, Andy Muschietti, being considered to direct a, in smaller quotes, Justice League New Frontier, on smaller quote, movie. Article by J.B. Augustine, published earlier today. Alright, so we can't call it a sure thing by any means, but the rumored denouement of James Gunn's first chapter, Gods and Monsters, based on Darwin Cook's graphic novel Justice League: The New Frontier, may have already found its director. However, he has to prove himself first, and he will get the chance to do that this summer. And I guess that was comic panels from that. Based on a rumor that is emerging from Jeff Sneeder, co-host of the YouTube show The Hot Mic, The Flash's director Andy Muschietti could return for the DCU and is the top candidate to helm the New Frontier adaptation that will allegedly culminate Chapter 1. In this quote-unquote endgame scenario, DC heroes, including Superman, assemble to fight the primeval threat of the Center. There's rumor that Muschietti will be promoted to direct a Justice League movie has been around since Walter Hamada was the head of the entity, then known as DC Films, but the Argentine director has the benefit of being liked by the new DC Studios bosses as well, particularly Gunn, and his opinion is the one that seemingly matters most. Let's see if you guys are saying anything yet. Oh, I guess you're not saying much more there. As we continue on here, we're very close to Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti, the director and producer of The Flash. Andy's going to be doing some more stuff for us, unquote, James said at the big slate announcement earlier this year, while adding a glowing review of the upcoming film. Quote, I will say here that Flash is probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. That's debatable, unquote. That's kind of debatable, you know, if you talk to a few people out there. But each to his own, right? A lot is riding on The Flash, so it needs all the publicity and high praise it can get after all the controversy surrounding Ezra Miller, as well as the decisions made by Gunn and Warner Brothers that negated the Snyderverse Consequently, they've had CEO David Zaslav call it, quote unquote, a wow of a movie. Well, if he's saying a wow of a movie, is he saying that's a good thing though? Is it like a wow, like wow, or is it wow? Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Even insiders with a line to Cosmic Book News, quote, say it's a masterpiece, unquote, which may vouch for the film's quality. But it's hard to imagine The Flash becoming a hit after Shazam Fury of the Gods flopped hard, and with the disaster, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom might be. Though The Flash is being relied on to reset everything, the DCEU is a lame duck. The rebooted next phase, the DCU, reportedly begins officially with Superman Legacy, although seeds for it may be planted as early as Blue Beetle. If not, the most we can expect to see of the slate's beginnings in earnest won't be glimpsed for another 2 years. By then, Muschietti and maybe Miller could be focused on other ventures. I guess there's Ezra Miller in the movie. Do you have any confidence Anthony Muschietti will be the man for the job of reuniting the Justice League on the big screen? Tell us what you think in the comments below. So, anyways, let's see now. We're still... All right. All right, so getting ready to move on to the next article then. And this one we're going to go over to Bleeding Fool. There's an article that came out earlier today. Bleeding Fool. All right. Wanna join the joyride? Join the joyride, yeah. All right. All right, so here we go. We go with this one now. All right, so Netflix orders animated Stranger Things series. Article by John Pallister, published earlier today. So Netflix is continuing to build out the quote-unquote Stranger Things franchise, with the streaming giant ordering an animated series set within the world of the show, Variety reports. Nearly all details about the show are being kept under wraps, aside from the fact that it was developed by Eric Robles and Flying Bark Productions. Robles has previously created the animated shows quote unquote Random Cartoons and quote unquote Fanboy and Chum Chum and quote unquote Glitch Text. I think I have heard of Fanboy and Chum Chum a little bit, but aside from that, Random Cartoon. I guess that's a scene from the potentially a scene from the series. Stranger Things, quote unquote, creators, the Duffer Brothers, executive produced via Upside Down Pictures, along with Robles of Flying Bark, as well as Sean Levy and Dan Cohen of 21 Laps. Upside Down Pictures and 21 Laps are currently under overall deals at Netflix. Quote, we've always dreamed of an animated, in small quotes, Stranger Things in the vein of the Saturday morning cartoons that we grew up loving. Yeah, but is really making a show like, I don't know, Stranger Things. Can they make it can they make it a Saturday morning cartoon style show? I mean, some properties they've attempted stuff like that in the past. Doesn't always work. Most notably, of course, Battle of the Planet. Gotcha Man. Gotcha Man Ninja Science Team, and Battle of the Planets. Right. Let's see. And we grew up loving to see this dream realized has been absolutely thrilling, unquote. The Duffer Brothers said in a statement, quote, "We couldn't be more blown away by what Eric Robles and his team have come up with. The scripts and artwork are incredible, and we can't wait to share more with you. The adventure continues," unquote. And that one went kind of quick. Anyways, okay, so done with the articles. Now let's see where we at on time here. No, we're not even at quite at half hour yet. Well, I can make that up. All right, so with that, I guess we'll move on to the wrestling wrap up. Okay, so let me see now. All right, so let's go over some wrestling news here. So first off, of course, we some WWE news. So apparently, if the deal with Endeavor does go through, it's already been talked about. Vince McMahon, even though he'll still be under contract with the WWF, and he'll have like 18%, he'll lose significant power. He'll actually have to answer to people. And I think one of the things that they made him do, or they're going to make him do, is they're going to make him sign, as part of his contract, basically a good conduct clause is going to be in other words, he's going to have to be on his best behavior. He's not going to be able to do anything he wants, and that includes, of course, their policies on anti-harassment and all that. So so just kind of a but then this is the problem when you sometimes go public and you get let other people. You eventually have to sell out enough of it to keep things going. Now, granted, at 77 years old, Vince McMahon still looks pretty good. Still looks like he's pretty active. Looks like he can still live another 20 years or so at the rate he's going. Can you imagine that? 100-year-old Vince McMahon? Well, that was a big news coming out of course, the WWE. Let's see. And speaking, of course, of WWE, there was also some talk about setting up a potential feud, possibly. One of the things that's being rumored right now is that Gunther has expressed interest in facing Brock Lesnar at some point in the future. And a lot of people, there are a lot of people at the top of WWE who are looking forward to this feud, as they've been pushing Gunther calling it, with his nickname being the General, going up against, Brock Lesnar, as a way to possibly help build up Gunther as a legit threat to Roman Reigns. Now apparently there's been a number of rumors going around from everything from there possibly as early as SummerSlam they could meet up to possibly no plans at all for the two of them to meet up. So, and if that's the case, they've also just recently started a storyline in which Brock had recently turned heel and was going to be going into a feud with Cody Rhodes. So that is also on the line there. So there's also one other thing that recently came up in an interview. All Elite and Ring of Honor wrestler Bandito recently came out and said that that he'd be interested in working for the WWE. Now, he had worked for the WWE before. He said he'd be interested in going back, when his contract basically may be up, but which is probably not really something that a lot of AEW fans or AEW execs probably want to hear. He said this on an interview that, he would be interested in going back to WWE. Now, Bandito, of course, a luchador who happens to also be a former Ring of Honor world champion. And as we do speak of AEW, of course, All Elite Wrestling, they're having their Dynamite episode tonight. We'll go over the results probably tomorrow. But the card for tonight is as follows. So Swerve Strickland's looking to take on Darby Allin, claiming that he helped make Darby Allin who he was through their time on the particularly the Northwest independent scene for Defy Wrestling. Darby Allin is right now considered one of the pillars of AEW. He's looked at as being one of the top challengers to MJF's world title, along with, of course, Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. But Swerve Strickland is, after basically forming an alliance, aka a merger with Prince Nana and the Embassy, he had Brian Cage attack Darby on last Friday's Rampage, which set up the match for this Wednesday, for tonight. So, also, Powerhouse Hobbs will be defending the TNT title against Silas Young. He'll have, of course, the rest of the QTV crew with them: QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, and Harley Cameron. Orange Cassidy defends the international title tonight against Buddy Matthews in a match that was pretty much set up last week as on last week's Dynamite. Orange Cassidy, along with Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, better known as Best Friends, the three of them teamed together to take on all three members of the House of Black, who are the World Trios champions. Buddy Matthews, along with Malachi Black and Brody King. Of course, Julia Hart will be in Buddy's corner for this match. And then on Friday, after Orange Cassidy had a successful title defense against Orlistico, I believe it was on Rampage, Buddy Matthews had come out and said, well, we gave you guys a shot at our title, so it's only fair that you give me a shot at yours. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Also, what happened from this from a interview segment from this past Friday, Brandon Cutler and Michael Nakazawa remaining members of the Elite, albeit they're more associate members of the Elite than anything else. But the two of them had challenged Blackpool Combat Club to a tag match. And in this case, they're going to be taking on the duo of Ring of Honor world champion Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley. They'll have Wheeler Yuta in their corner. As right now, all the Elite members, as Brandon Cutler put it, he's tired of riding in ambulances and sitting at the bedsides of his friends. And he and Nakazawa are looking to exact some payback on the Blackpool Combat Club. And of course, women's tag team action. Former AEW World Champion Riho and Sky Blue team up against two members of the Outcast, Ruby Soho and Tony Storm. Outcast looking to bury more of the AEW homegrown talent in the women's locker room, looking to and literally tag them, while Riho and Sky Blue looking to stand up for the honor of the AEW women's division. Now, granted, Soho and Storm have the size advantage on the two, but as many of you saw probably last week on Dynamite, Riho is quite a spunky girl. She's a former AEW World Champion. She put up quite a fight against Jamie Hayter last week, so we'll see how that all. And in the main event, Chris Jericho takes on Keith Lee in a match that was set up last Wednesday on Dynamite, as Adam Cole, in his return match to AEW, had defeated Daniel Garcia of the Jericho Appreciation Society. During Cole's celebration, hey Shadowhawk, thanks for dropping in. See you there. I was reading off the, but anyways, and thank you for the like and the share. So during last week's main event, in which Adam Cole had defeated Daniel Garcia, after the match, during his celebration, Chris Jericho had come out to get Daniel Garcia, as he felt that Daniel Garcia was being punked by Adam Cole, because Adam Cole not only got the win, but his girlfriend, partner, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if they're actually married or if they are, but they're a couple. We know that much. He got the girl, he got the party, and of course, Daniel Garcia was still lying in the ring as all the confetti and stuff was coming down in celebration of Adam Cole's victory. And Chris Jericho took exception to that, felt that Daniel Garcia was being disrespected. And what's kind of funny is that while he was being interviewed by Tony Schiavone, Keith Lee happened by, overhearing the conversation, and essentially called Jericho out for the fact that Jericho had been pretty disrespectful over the last 6 months or so, since the inception of the Jericho Appreciation Society. So Keith Lee, Limitless Keith Lee, is looking to teach Jericho a thing or two about respect. So that's all. So that's all happening tonight. I'll go over the results tomorrow when we have them. So with that, let's see. So in case you guys missed it earlier, you can always go back and watch, the video on replay. But I talked more like movies tonight, a little bit more than I usually do. We went over some articles. Seth Rogen, basically coming out and saying that he wanted to infuse something new and exciting into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. we also looked at Alan Muschietti, who was the director of the Flash film. They're looking to maybe make him the director of the latest Justice League New Frontier movie coming out. And then we also saw that Netflix is ordering animated series, animated adaptation for Stranger Things. So that's basically what we talked about earlier. And with that, I think it would be a good time to start winding down. We'll start. So today, we'll get to this day in each history. So today being Wednesday, April the 12th, 2023, let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! 2006, 93, 2003, and 2008. All right, so without any further ado, let's take a look back at this day in each history. So first off, on this day in each history, why did I do that? I'm doing that a lot lately. On this day in each history, at the time known as the WWF, now known as WWE, held its Monday Night Raw event from the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York. The match on the main event, Friar Ferguson defeat Chris Duffy. Now, Friar Ferguson has had a number of different names. His real name was Mike Shaw. Most of you would have remembered him better by his later WWF character, Bastion Booger. Actually, that might have even been before the front. So, for some of you who had watched Stampede Wrestling in maybe the mid to late 80s, you would have remembered him as Mikestand, or WCW in 89-90 when he was known as Norman the Lunatic, Truckin' Norman, all that. Also, Papa Shango defeated Scott Taylor before he became known as Scotty 2 Hotty. Tonka defeated Skull Von Crush. Scott Steiner defeated Erwin R. Shyster via disqualification. The Steiner brothers and Money Incorporated were feuding over the WWF World Tag Team titles. And then you had a couple dark matches before the show in which Undertaker defeated Giant Gonzalez by a DQ. This, of course, was a feud that we saw. Probably what is considered by many to be the worst of his streak matches, if not all of his matches at WrestleMania. This is coming off the heels of his match with John Gonzalez, as he'd beat him via DQ there. And then Bret Hart, in the other dark match, Bret Hart defeated Razor Ramon. So that was 30 years ago that WWF held its Monday Night Raw event from Poughkeepsie, New York. So now moving on to the next piece of Niche history. We move ahead to 2003, I believe, here. As on this date back 20 years ago today. On this date 20 years ago today. All Grown Up, which was a sequel to the Rugrats series, an animated sequel to the Rugrats series, premiered on Nickelodeon on this date 20 years ago today. On this date 20 years ago today, All Grown Up, which was the sequel to Rugrats, premiered on this date back in 2003. Ran for 5 years on Nickelodeon. So there we go with that. Of course, as the name I think implies, it basically features the Rugrat characters as adults, or I don't know as adults, but older. So, anyways, moving on to the next piece in each history. We head to 2006. And on this date in 2006, the 565th issue of Archie went on sale on this date back in 2006, 17 years ago today. Sold for $2.25, 32 pages, edited by Victor Gorlat. Basically, you had five Archie stories in there, including the manga scene, which I guess they were alluding to mangas in there as well. On this date, 17 years ago today, 565th issue of Archie, which after this would run for another 101 issues, went on sale on this date. This book itself started all the way back in 1942 and was still going up to this point. So on this date in 2006, the 565th issue of Archie went on sale. So, anyways, and getting now down to the last piece of niche history, as it were. On this date, 15 years ago today, a couple animes made their premiere in Japan. First off, one that ran for 26 episodes from Nomad's Kyoran Kazoku Niki, which translates as The Diary of a Crazed Family. Premiered on this date on Tokyo Television back in 2008, 15 years ago today. So, Kyoran Kazoku Niki, The Diary of a Crazed Family, premiered on television in Tokyo in Japan on this date back in 2008. Also premiering on this date, Bone Studios' Niju Menso no Musume, translates as The Girl of 20 Faces. Premiered on this date on Japanese television as well. So on this date, as well, Niju Menso no Musume, or The Girl of 20 Faces, also premiered on this date back in 2008. So with that, I thank you all for being here tonight. Before I go, of course, just a reminder, of course, I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow, of course, for more niche news coverage. Also, we on Friday we'll be starting our October of 1939 coverage of books that went on sale. We'll be focusing in on DC. Among the books we'll be reading from will include Detective Comics Volume 1, Number 33, which, of course, has the story is Batman Wars of the Dirigible Doom. But prior to that story, of course, we get a little flashback story to the Batman and how he came to be. We'll also be reading from Action Comics Volume 1, Number 19, Adventure Comics Volume 1, I believe number 44. We'll be reading Zatara, Gorilla King, and Sandman, the Face, and if there's time, of course, we'll also maybe even hit up Hop Harrigan and Squibbly. So with all that being said, guys, I thank y'all for being here. I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.